Hi everyone. This is Sai from Let's Upgrade. So let's talk about how to get your certificate. It's very simple. You will see two links in the description. Number one is the place where you have to go and mark your attendance. Marking your attendance tells us like, okay, you are a legit student who have attended this particular session. Link number two is your assignment. This is where your 90% of the priority is. You have to go and submit the assignment that is given to you in this particular session. Once you're done submitting that assignment, we will be evaluating that. We will send you an email. If you get the passing criteria, then only we will give you the certificate on a particular date that is mentioned again in the description. Please check these three things, and this is the way how you will get a certificate from Let's Upgrade. Number one, mark your attendance. Number two, just go ahead and upload your assignment. Check for the email that you have received it, yes or no. What is the feedback that you have received from your trainer? Number three, check on which date the certificates will be released. Thank you. Bye. All the best. Happy learning.
Imagine a user has received an email link which looks something like this. This is a platform onboarding link. When the user clicks on this particular link, you see some magical thing happens. You can see in this form the full name is already pre-filled, the email is already pre-filled, and the plan is already selected. What happens is this is not exactly a magic. This is the use of URL search parameters which we will be reading in this particular tutorial. And let's consider this as a use case. So why this is important? This increases the onboarding rate right here for the platform. Like the user do not have to spend lot of time in typing each and individual field. Most of this are already filled. The rest of the field they can just fill it by themselves and click on onboarding, and you can see the onboarding process is finished. So this project we are doing right here in this particular class. So stay tuned, stay excited for building this project. Hi everyone, I am Prithis Pradasi and I have been training as a full stack developer with GenAI and growth strategy expert for more than 8 years. I have been part of multiple production based websites for starting from different startups, some of the Fortune 500 companies, and everything in between. So let's start building this project. And before building this project, let's understand few of the concepts. In this tutorial, we'll have a clear understanding about the URL, what is a URL, what is its structure. We'll learn about the query parameters. We'll also have a better understanding on URLSearchParams API. We'll learn how to make it form dynamic and how to receive data from the URL and pre-fill the form. I'll give you an idea about how to make a shareable URL, which you'll be taking this as an assignment for this project. You'll also learn about how to handle validations and errors. Let's have a better understanding on URL. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. So this is something like we can say as an address to a specific resource on the internet. Let it be a web page, or let it be an image, or let it be a file. So this is all about URL. Now let's do one more thing. Let's break down URL into multiple parts. So here you can see the URL is break down into multiple parts: scheme, host, subdomain, and all. So let's go deep into each. Let's have a quick reference on each part. Okay, so here at first you can see HTTPS. Okay, this is called scheme. Okay, scheme. What is a scheme? This indicates the protocol that is used by the server. Okay, this HTTPS is the protocol that is used by the server. It can be HTTPS, it can be HTTP or FTP or anything like that. And then comes the host part. Okay, host here, right here, identifies the server that you are hosting, that hosting the web resources. Okay, it identifies the server that hosting the web resources. For example, www.google.com is a domain, you can say. It's also called domain, and here in the example is called as domain. And subdomain, here you can see the www dot, this is a subdivision of the main domain, which is basically used to organize the content or any kind of services. Like for example, you might have find like blogs dot google.com or something like this, blog dot uh, zoho.com, something like that. So here it organizes the content in the website, okay, in the main domain, what you can say. Okay, so then we have the domain part, or the main domain part, okay, which is the name of the website. Then after that we have something as TLD, okay, top level domain. Okay, this is TLD. We have, this is .com, you have .edu, .org. Okay, this basically this is specifies to the type of your organization. Are you a education based organization? Are you a commercial organization? Are you a corporations, something like that? Okay, identifies your, it is like a organizational identifications. Then you have a subdirectory right here with a path. Okay, subdirectory is like a subfolder. Okay, it is something like a subfolder that gives an indication to a specific web page section. Okay, it is identified as a subfolder which indicates to a specific web page section. Okay, let it be here. In this case it is, indicates to a forum page. Sometimes you might indicate to a specific category of in a e-commerce website. Let it be um, a clothes website specific to hats, accessories, or belt accessories, in a apparel brand or something like this also you can get. Okay, then this is the path. Then where the next thing comes is the query string. So this is what will be working throughout this particular project. Okay, query string, it comes with, you can see the question mark, then we have a string. This is called a query string. So this is a sequence of a non-hierarchical data, or you can say sequence of parameters that is passed to the server for any additional instructions, or in this our example as data processing. Okay, so this is a sequence of non-hierarchical data, or you can say it is a sequence of parameter that is passed to the server for any data processing work or any additional instruction you are doing. Okay, then you have the query parameters. Okay, query parameters are key value pair. This is a very unique identifier in the parameter. Okay, so this specifies some additional information to the server. Okay, with this you provide additional information to the server, like in our case we are passing name equals to the name of the person, then plan equal to pro plan which they are trying to select, so that value you are sending. There's additional information you are sending along with the desired URL. Okay, then this is the query string. We have the path. Path specifies a specific location, as you have said. Then you have the fragment. Okay, fragment is like a, it is not a necessary component. Query string is also not necessary all the time, but fragment is an optional component that directs to a secondary resource within a page. Let's say you want to move to the about section of a particular page, or any specific section to a particular page. So this is, for that we use the fragments. Okay, so this is all about URL. All right, so let's understand the URL search params in depth. So URL search parameter, you can think it of like a toolbox which is specially designed for the URL parameters. Or you can say it is something like a JavaScript tools that turns a raw string into a easy to use object and back again to it. Okay, you can something think of something like this. This may sound like a bit of jargon to you right now. So let's take a quick example. Do will write few lines of code to get much more better understanding of it. All right, so let's say you are building a complex query for a food ordering thing, and here you are not ordering a simple pizza, but you want a specific pizza. Like you want a pizza which is large in size, which you want a specific topping that is pepperoni, and you want a thin crust to it, and you want to add a sauce to it, dipping sauce, ranch dipping sauce to it. Okay, these are the few things that you have in your custom order. So what you do, you select all of your choices, all the customized choices, and then you click on the add to cart button. Okay, so now what happens is all of these choices are wrapped up and sent to the server. Okay, all these choices are wrapped up and now they are sent to the server. Now here comes to the URL search parameters. So URL search parameters in JavaScript, here it is like a smart organized shopping list. Okay, you can think of it as like a smart organized shopping list that will help you to build. Okay, it will help you to build, read or modify the key value pair or the choices that you have made in ordering the pizzas in this particular case. Okay, so what it does, it builds, reads and modify this key value pair that is attached to a specific URL. So here you can see in this particular URL we have something attached to it, which is the size after the question mark. Okay, we have something attached to it which is size equal to large and topping pepperoni, crust is thin and deep is ranch. So in this web term, okay, in this web term, this part of the URL, okay, here this part which you are seeing in the URL, so this is called as the query string. Okay, understand this term, this is called as query string. Okay, now let's get deep into it. Okay, and this query string has key value pair are this is the key and this is the value. Okay, which is, and then we have multiple key value pairs, okay, attached to it. So let's understand this in a better, how to use this. So how to use, now we know what is URL search params. Okay, how to use this, let's understand it. You can mainly use the URL search parameters. One thing, reading the current option. Okay, so from this query string we will read few options. I will read the current options, and other thing what you can do, you can write or modify these options. Modifying like this, you want to change the toppings, okay, or you want to add cheese to this order. So all these modifications you can do right here. Okay, so let's understand few things before writing the first line of code. So before going there, you need to understand the first thing for the web page. Okay, so here we need to understand where all the data lives. So we'll start at the very top of the web page structure, that is the window object. Okay, very top of the structure is window object. So window object, you can think it like a entire restaurant. Okay, imagine window object as your entire browser tab. So this entire browser tab which you are looking at, imagine this as a window object, or the current application which you are looking at, you can imagine it as a window object. So it is, the window object is a global object that is present in the browser. That means every information, it has almost every information inside it. So let's do a quick thing. So how to access it? So what we'll do is we'll log the Windows object to the console. Okay, so for that what we can do is we'll write a single line of code. Okay, console.log. So here in under the script, or you can just create a script.js file attached to this file, HTML file, and you can write it, or in the HTML file you can just write this particular code under the script tag. Okay, and you will see everything that it has. You can see all the properties right here inside it. Okay, the Windows has all the properties inside it. Okay, and the most important under it, okay, the most important under this is, which we need, is the location. Okay, so Windows location is like a large address sign. Okay, it is like a you like a, at the outside of the restaurant, it is something like a address sign that you have in the restaurant that tells you exactly where you are, and it will help you to get the direction. Or you can say it the Windows location here, it breaks the this particular Windows location object breaks the URL into several smaller pieces. Okay, it breaks the URL into several smaller pieces, and here you have all the information of the origin, the ports and everything, protocol that is used, the host name, the path name and everything. Among all of this, we need a very important thing, that is a special instruction, that is search. Among this we need the search right here. So inside the location object, this is a search property what we are looking for. The search property is a string, okay, that holds the important piece of data that we are looking for. Okay, so before going to search, let's see if you can, let's log the location also, and let's also access the search and log the search of the value of the search. Okay, right here. So we have the code right here along with us. Okay, here you can see we have logged the Windows location right here. So that's why we are able to get access to the location. So first we got how to get access to the Windows. We have logged that in the console. Then we have logged the Windows location through which we have access to all this. So under this location we want to get access to the search. So that's why windows.location.search. So then we have access to this. So this has four parameters. The search property is a string that holds the input and property or the important piece of data for us. And in this particular case, we all everything data are in a combination of key and value pair. We have four key value pair combinations. So here you can see the size is 4. Okay, so that's how we are able to access through it. So it is like a, we can, you can take an analogy something as Windows location search is like a little slip of paper with some special order nodes. Okay, like the waiter takes it in a specific slip of paper, it takes all the notes of all the order which you are ordering. You can take that in your mind as that. Okay, so now we have got access to the query string. Okay, query string is after URL question mark what you have right here, the key value pair. So we have got access to the query string right now. Let's say now since we have got access to the query string, now we know what is a URL search parameter. Okay, so it's like a, so here URL search parameter, again I'm giving you a recap. It is like a constructor. Okay, so URL search parameter is a constructor. Okay, that will, so okay, so here you can see URL search parameter is a constructor that is taking a Macy query string. Okay, it is taking a Macy query string. So this is a query string what we have right here. So to access it, windows.location.search, which has the all the query information for us. Okay, it has all the query information for us. So it takes the Macy query string and turns into a clean object. Okay, it turns into a clean object right here. What you can see right here, it turns into a clean object right here. And like this object, by doing that, this object like structure is easy to use different kind of methods to it. So to this we can uh, apply different kind of methods to it, so that we can do certain modification and changes to it. Okay, so you, or you can search this URL search parameters. Okay, is like here we took the nodes and then we do the organization part right here, all the organization. Let's say what organization we can do. Let's say we have access to the query string. We want to see what topping that a user has asked for. Okay, let's see what topping a user has asked for. So for that you can see, to access it, how to access it, it's very, I'm just sharing you the code. So we have already accessed it, so I'm just sharing you the code right here on the screen, so that you get the idea, and log it in the console. So here you can see const my toppings, your params. So we got through the parameters which has all the query string information, params dot get. Okay, dot get, then toppings. So here what is get? Okay, just have a quick, what comes to your mind when you see get, or what we are able to access it using the get. Okay, so using this gate, what we are getting is this return the first value that is associated with the given search parameter. Okay, so here the search parameter we have given is toppings. So To the toppings, the first value that is associated is pepperoni. So you can see by logging it to the console, we are able to get the first value that is associated with my toppings. Okay, so here we are able to face the pepperoni information. Okay, so here in this query string, we have only given the information as size, key, all the keys are size, toppings, and we have given crust information, we have given deep information. So let's take one more case. Let's write a code and check for, let's say, if the user has added the information about the cheese or not. While in the order, if the user has added the information about the cheese or not, if they have added cheese to the order not. So for that, what we'll do, just write this two simple line of code. Okay, const has cheese params. So we are using dot has. Okay, it returns, dot has always returns a boolean value indicating if the given parameters that we have provided. So here we have provided cheese as a parameter, if that is exists right here in the query string or not. Here we see we have size, topping, crust and dip, and we do not have cheese. So what it should return, it should return false. So here you can see when we are logging it to the console, the value which we are getting is false right here. So that part is clear. Now let's move to the next part. Let's say you want to do certain manipulation. Here you can see the URL size is 4. Okay, the size is 4 because we have 4 key value pairs, okay, in the query string. But let's say to this order we want to do one more manipulation. What we do, we want to this order we want to check, like we want to add drink. Okay, along with pizza, most of you like Coke. So what we'll do is, let's add Coke to this. So here what I did is const has params dot append. Okay, so dot append I have added right here. So dot append has a specified key value pair associated with it. That is, you can see it has a key value pair associated with it. First is drink, the as a key value is cola. All right, so here it will add this to our query string. Okay, so here you will see now the size has become 5 right here. Okay, then what we have done is, here we have checked params.has. Okay, we have done a checking. If to check, we have, by using the append, we have successfully added that key value pair to the string. Okay, query string. Now what we need to do is, we need to verify it if it has successfully added or not. So here when I log that has cola to the console right here, you can see the value is now true. All right, so this is how you can work on the URL search parameter. This is all about URL search parameter in brief. So now let's take a quick example, more better example to have a better understanding to it. So let's deep dive into the main project. So imagine you are a head of the people management in your company or people onboarding of your company, and you want to you have sent a onboarding email with a attached link that looks something like this. Okay, with a attached link that looks something like this, and it has a query string or with a key value pair attached to it, which has a key as email, and plan is selected as pro. And when someone clicks on this particular link, what happens is they come to a particular form in which some of the data that you have already shared in the email, pre-filled data, that is the selected plan. Here you can see we have select as a key value as plan equal to pro and email equal to test@example.com. So here when they click or read the email, click on this, they have a pre-filled form right there. So from there, what they can do is, they can by doing this, what happens is it increases the user experience of the user. So by sharing this kind of URLs, it increases the user experience. They do not have to fill each and every data, all the data. Let's say you also know their full name, you have access to the full name in the URL. You can also share that name as a name and the full name as a key value pair. So this makes the task easier for your end user, and also creates a better user experience, and also increases the conversion rate of the form filling. Okay, so most of the people will be eager to fill the form because less amount of time it takes to do all of things. So we'll build this project using the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So let's build it from the scratch. So this is the starter code of our project, in which we have different states of the project. We have a form right here. Okay, so here we need a form right here. So we have all the form information. We have all the tags for the forms. We have added it. We have all the labels right here for each form. Okay, for each form we have a form group. We have created a form group, all the label informations. We have created three states for it. Okay, loading state, then we have a form state. So loading state is, it will show while you are reading the URL. So when we are reading the particular URL, when it is clicked on, so then it will first move into the loading state. After that, when the form is visible to us, then we'll have the form state. Then later we'll have the confirmation state, that is after successful page submission. Okay, so here let's add a few informations right here. Okay, and complete submission, this is the confirmation state. Okay, what we are seeing right here. All right, so when you are reloading, this is the loading state. All right, so then after that we have the all the informations about the name, email ID, the information about the plans and all selectors and all stuff. Okay, and for the this is for the confirmation state, all the information that you are displaying, okay, that you have received from the form. And then we have a shareable link, so this will be your assignment. Okay, so this is overally our HTML structure. Okay, if you want, you can just take screenshot of it as a starter template. Okay, or you can just rewrite this. So because we'll focus mostly on the JavaScript part of this code. Okay, so here we have a template right here for the JavaScript code. Okay, which has all the body properties and all layout, container, form wrapper, everything is there right here. All right, all the CSS informations I have added right here. So now we have this. So let's tell you few more things. That is, let's take one of the thing as a hidden inputs. Okay, so here I'll take a few example to it. So we'll come to that particular part. Yeah, input type hidden, ID equal to source, name equal to source. Okay, so these are all the hidden inputs. This will store where the users source of the users and all info, like from where the user came. Okay, from where the user came, it will store that information came from, like the email, social or direct, something like that. You can use that, the tracking part, from which source the user have come. Okay, so similarly, those are the few things. If it is confusing, you can keep a hold of it. So this is a responsive page. Okay, well, let's move directly to the JavaScript. Okay, in the JavaScript part, the first mechanism that we are doing in the JavaScript is, will when someone loads the page, okay, first thing, it will fetch all the like parameters, URL parameters, will fetch all the URL parameters. And during the fetching, the page will be in the loading state. Okay, once we have fetched all the parameters, then what we'll do is we will pre-fill the form. Okay, pre-fill the form with the data that we have fetched from the URL. Okay, like in this particular case, we are pre-filling with the email address and the plan that you are selecting. We'll pre-fill that. Once the pre-fill is done, we'll hide the loading state and we'll show the form, like the basic form right here. So for that, let's write the code. Okay, so we'll fetch the, okay, just give me a minute, the single key is not working. Okay, all right. So here from the document dot add event listener to this document and loaded comma function. All right, so I'll not go also deep more into the all the part like the email validation and all the things. We'll skip few of the things and we'll majorly focus on the what do you say is the handling the query and using the URL params. So here this is the first thing. So when the page load, we'll run this particular function. Okay, we'll run this particular function, and in the console what we'll do is we'll log we can log that is page loaded. Okay, page loaded and initializing app. So this part will logged in the console. Okay, when the page loads, we'll run this particular function and we'll log this in the console. Then cons URL params. Okay, here we'll use get. So here we are fetching the URL parameters. So get URL parameters, calling the function. Okay, equals to is also not working. Just give me a minute. Okay. Sorry. I'll just go change the keyboard. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Then what we can do is console.log, and then here we have fetched the parameters from the URL. So then you can log that URL parameter found. Okay, then we can log that URL parameters have found. Okay, so this is what you can do right here. Okay, so the next thing what we can do is we will pre-fill the form. Okay, so what I'll do is just for the quick completion to the main part. So here what we are doing, we are pre-filling the form. So here we are checking if we the length of the key object keys URL parameters key is greater than 0. Here we are checking the condition. This check if the URL params object. Okay, here we are checking if the URLs param object was created by get URL. Okay, was created by get URL parameters. Here that's we are checking the get URL parameter contains any data or not. So URL param, that you know, it is a structured object that holds all the key value pairs. Okay, then object dot keys right here, this is a standard JavaScript method that takes any object and returns an array of its keys. It will take any object and it will return array of its keys. For example, in this example, it will return like email, plan, all the keys, array of keys, email, plans and all. Okay, dot length returns the number of elements that are there in the array. In this particular case, we are pre-filling two values, email and plan, so it will return 2. If it is greater than 0, the condition meets. Okay, if it is greater, sorry, yes, the condition meets only if it is greater than 0, meaning we have at least one parameter has found. We have found at least one parameter. So here pre-filled form URL, here we are doing the condition check. If this condition is true, okay, if this condition is true, this function is executed. Okay, if this condition is true, okay, if we find any parameters, then this function is executed. It takes the entire URL parameters. Okay, it is taking the entire URL parameter object and uses the data to set the value in the corresponding form field. Okay, so it will take the complete URL parameters and it will place the value in the corresponding form fields. So that's what we are doing right here. So here, since that once that part is complete, the next step what we are going to do is we will hide the loading state. Okay, so here we'll hide the loading state, and so once we are done with the hiding of the loading state, the next state what we'll do is we'll make that form ready for the submission. Okay, we'll set that form ready for submission. That is the set of form submission. And once everything is done, what we'll do is we'll log that to console that the app is ready or something like that. Okay, the app is ready. Okay, everything is initialized, the app is ready. Okay, so open in live server, let's open it. Okay, here control V, enter, control shift I, and you can see page loaded. Okay, initializing app and all. Okay, now this app is ready and everything, and once we click on the submission, we'll proceed to the further. Okay, here we are getting this error because we haven't defined the get URL parameters and all stuff. So let's fix that. So once we proceed further with the code, all this information will be fixed. Okay, so what we can do is we will write the important code. Okay, so here let's define that the core function of this. Okay, so function get URL parameters. Okay, this is the important function for us. Okay, inside the function, here first thing we'll do, step one is we'll get the current URL query string. Okay, first thing we need to do is get the current URL query string, that we get access to it by using the windows dot location dot search. Okay, so let's, first thing is, this is the first step. What we are doing is accessing the query string. Okay, this we have already done in the previous example, and I hope this is clear. Okay, then the next thing what we can do is we can log that to verify if it is fine or not. Okay, if we have got the actual query or not, we can log that to console. Okay, next thing is we'll create a URL search param object from the query string. Okay, from the query string we will create a URL search params object which parses that. What we'll do is we'll get that query string, we have access to the query string, it will do the parsing of this query string. Okay, and which will be easier for us to access it. Okay, to get the accessibility, that's why we will use the URL search params. Okay, to do the parsing of this particular, we'll use this constructor for parsing of this. Now let's create a object that will store all our individual parameters. Okay, let's create a object that will store all our individual parameters. So for that, const, so this will store all our individual parameters. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll do a iteration to each of the parameters. Okay, so here to do the iteration, we'll use the for loop which will go through each key value pair and read it. Okay, so and then what we can do is we can uh, print log the all the key value pairs in the console just for the understanding. Okay, so we have access to this. So params, here we will do the forEach. Okay, for the iteration to this we will pass the, here will take two parameters, value key we'll use the arrow function right here. Okay, sorry, this issue. Okay, and then what we'll do is inside it, then we will log this. Okay, log all the key value pairs. Okay, I hope this part is clear with you. So let's give you a recap. Here we have the raw data, that is the source data, the line which we fetch from the browser, that is a query string. Okay, then here console.log, this is for the debugging part. We are logging everything to check if it is working. Then the, as said before, the main translator part. Okay, so here it is creating a URL search parameter object. We are creating a URL search parameter object and naming it as params. Okay, so by passing here the raw query string, we are passing the raw query string information that we have. Okay, it will do the parsing, breaks, it will do the breakdown of the string into separate key value pairs. Okay, it will break down the string into separate key value pairs. Okay, then we are storing that information. Okay, or we can say that we here in this particular case we are doing the initialization of a simple JavaScript object. Okay, where we will store all the key value information. Okay, so then what we are doing in the next part is params for each value. Here we are doing the iteration part. Okay, then we are assigning those value right here. Okay, and then the confirmation part, if everything is working correctly or not for the debugging. Okay, next is what we can do right here. Let's return the params objects. Okay, so this will return the all the information of all the key value pairs right here. Okay, now this will have all the information of all the key value pair informations. Okay, so now which was showing you before is undefined. Okay, that is now fixed right here. Now let's move to the next part. Okay, how to do the pre-filling part. Okay, how to do the pre-filling of the form, so that I'll also give you a glance of it. So I'll not go into each and everything. I'll just show you for the email part, and rest you will do it yourself. Okay, I'll just give you an idea of it. So we'll create a function and name it as something what we can call as pre-filled forms. Okay, so this place what we'll do is, let's understand the text input. What we'll be doing: email, full name, company, plans, everything. This is all the one. There are different way in which you can access. Okay, so here if the URL params. Okay, here URL params that we are fetching that here, or we'll check the parameters from this. Let's say you want to access the email. Okay, so I'll just sharing the complete code and we'll explain with you. So here first we are doing a safety check right here. It checks if the URL params object, okay, actually has a property that is named as email or not. Okay, so here we are doing that. Then what we are doing is we find the target element. So this uses here document.element by id email. So here we are using the document object model method. Okay, document.getElement by id to locate a specific HTML input that is with a id as email. Okay, that's we are doing. We are targeting that, and we are setting this as a target. Okay, then the next line is email input dot value equals to URL params. Okay, So in this particular line, we are taking the actions. Okay, we are taking the actions. What we are doing is, this is where we are doing the pre-filling part. Okay, here what we are doing, the value property of the HTML. Okay, the inputs the element, or if you set any value to it, that value is stored in the URL parameter inputs. Okay, so here email input dot value, there we are storing the email data that you have faced from the URL. Let's say in this particular case, taste@gmail.com, or something like this. Okay, that what we have faced, we are filling. So similarly, uh, suppose you want for the email, for the name you want to do the checking. Okay, so for the name also similarly, if so, here it supports both the name, okay, and the full name parameters. Okay, here we are writing this particular conditions which will check both the name and the full name. Then what we can do is, I'll just copy the code and I will explain you, so that the main part is clear. We can complete this project. Don't worry, I will explain it. So if URL params.name has any value, or if URL params.fullname both has any value, the condition is true. Okay, if both has value, the condition is true. Okay, and the code inside this, what the code that is there inside this block, that will run. If both are missing, then the condition is false. That means this form field will be skipped. That means no name has been given to you, and this condition will be skipped, and no value in the form field will be pre-filled. Okay, so this is how the condition is. So if both is true, then this will be filled. If both is false, then this will not be filled. Okay, so, let's say in scenario one, you can take one scenario. If the full name exists, okay, then it assigned it with a variable value. The value will be filled in the name field. Okay, so that's how we are doing. So name pre-filled, we are fetching the element, and we are updating with the name value that we have fetched from the URL. So similarly, you can write the code for the company, you can write the code for the plans. Okay, the plan is also, since we have used plans. Okay, so what we can do is save it. So here let's move to the plan part. So this, you can see here the plans, the input types are radio buttons. Okay, here in the plans, the input types are radio buttons. Okay, so keep in mind this, the input are radio buttons, and then we have all the plans right here with us. Okay, so let's do one more thing. Let's understand and write the code. Okay, so let's move to the JS part. If URL params.plan, okay, if URL params.plan, so here what it will do is, we are doing the safety check if the parameter was successfully pulled from the URL, or if we have success in the query string, if we have the key value pair plans mentioned or not. So then what we'll do is, we'll fetch that information. Okay, so we'll use the selector method. Okay, this will search the entire document. Okay, and for the first element that will match here. So let me write the code for it, so that it will have a better understanding. Okay, so here, right here, we have a template. Okay, we have a this might seem a bit complex to you guys. Okay, this might see, here we have something like this is a modern JavaScript template literals. So you can note here, right here, we have everything mentioned with a backticks. backtick, then we have input, name, plan, value, URL params dot plan. So let's break down this particular selector that we have done. Okay, we have fetched this particular selector. Here inputs, that is input is something similar to your input tag. Okay, this input is something we are selecting the input tag, then name equals to plan. The input must have, so here what we are saying is the input must have the attribute named which is equal to plan. The input field which you are selecting, the input tag which you are selecting, it must have a attribute name that is equals to plan. And then here we are saying that text, the value and all stuff, value equals to URL plans plan. This input, here we are saying that the input must have the attribute value that exactly matches the value that we have found in the URL. Okay, that means we are comparing the like the value that we have in this radio button is, let's do one thing. So here we are comparing, so name and the values are all the things that is exactly matching, that we are doing the matching things. The plan, is it exactly what we are fetching from the URL or not? The plan is pro, or the plan is, if the plan is pro, the selector value becomes pro. Okay, if the plan is like the value this way, the value will be updated. If from the URL you are selecting the uh, value pro, this value will be updated to pro. Okay, so this is what we are doing right here. So we are asking, basically here in this particular script, we are asking the DOM to find a radio button for the particular plan that has the exact specified value in the, that is there in the URL. Okay, so then what we'll do is it will get that it will get access to the radio button which has the exact, we do the matching of the exact value. So if the plan radio right here, okay, we are accessing this. If the plan radio, so plan radio dot check, let me do one thing. So let me paste the code right here. Okay, so that I can explain with you quickly. So here, if a element, here what we are doing is, if a element was found from the URL that matched the radio button. Okay, so here the radio buttons hold the reference to that HTML. Okay, it will hold the reference to that HTML. So here what happens is, if the radio element was found which matches this, then the check property is radio button is checked unchecked. Okay, it has two value. It is, if it is selected, it is checked. If it is not selected, if it is it's set to checked property is set to true. If it is not, or else the radio button checked property is set to false. So here by if that is present, if the plan that we are fetching from the URL that is present right here in this radio buttons, so that particular value, it will do the matching of that particular plan. And here if you are selecting, it will, what it will do is, here we are setting plan equals to pro. Okay, it will search right here. If the plan is present right here, the pro plan is present right here, then it will automatically update right here and make it selected. Okay, so that's what you are doing right here. Okay, then what then we can do the store tracking, store where the user came from, that also you can do right here. So that is assignment for you. Okay, so this is the important line of codes that you need to work on. Okay, so this is how you can fetch the information from the URL and do the necessary things. Next, a few things that you need to do by your end, that is the form validations and all stuff. Validation of the email, validation of the company name, validation of the email, as in you can use the email regex. Take this as a assignment. This part of the code you will be writing. Okay, so I'm just telling you the main important part of the code that requires proper understanding. You What you need to do is you do the form validation, like when the page load, reset all the error messages. Okay, so then do the valid form formatting. If at the rate is there, doc is there, and all, and company name, set the company name should be at least 2 or 3 characters. If you are writing the company name less than 2 characters, then it will show you a error message. Okay, invalid company name or something like this. Okay. Okay, if you want, let me share the code also. Now this is the code for the source validation, and this is for the company, not the validation, for the tracking of the source, and the next is the company name. Okay, pre-filling of the company name part code. For the form validation function, you can just go for a function and name it as value. And then what we can do is, first thing you can do is start with this clearing of the any error message, if there is any error message or not. Then get all the form values. Okay, get all the form values. Okay, using document model object. Okay, fetch all the information, full name, email, company, plans, and all. Okay, by default you can take a constant and set it to is valid true. Okay, which one you want me to show? Let's do the name validation first. Okay, like if there are multiple ways of checking. One, you need to check if the full name is entered or not. Okay, if it is not entered, it will show error. Will toggle that is valid to false. Okay, and if other way, name, full name must be of length 2. Okay, but at least you need to have 2 characters. If that is the issue, will trigger a error. And your name should not contain any number. Okay, it should be a complete alphabetical order. It should not be alphanumeric. That validation you can do right here. So we'll not go into deep into the validation part. I'll just share the code so that it will be easy for you to complete this particular project. Okay, so these are the 3 validation that you are doing right here. After the name validation, similarly you do the use the regex to do the email validation. Okay, this is how you can do the email validation. Okay, okay, if the user is writing the email in the correct format or not, do that validation. Then the company name, which I have said, must be at least 2 characters. That is this code for the validation we are taking. If the company name is there or not, that is, then it will trigger error. Or else if the length is less than 2, then it will trigger the error. And the plan, if the user is not selecting the plan, okay, and clicking on submit, then it will also trigger error. So this is the complete code for that. Okay, so here this all the validation part is done. Okay, to display different kind of error or error message. Okay, here show error, which you are calling, which has a error message inside it. Okay, for that let's do the definition. This is the show error function definition. Okay, so how you want to display the error. Okay, you can go and do it, research on it, how it is accessing the document, a particular element ID, and it is changing the text content of that particular element and setting the display type block, so that after the error message the next element will come below it. Okay, and then when the page load, we are calling a function that is called as the this validation clear error message. So for that, this is the definition to it. All right, then the submission part. Okay, the form submission part function will do the setup form submission. Okay, then we'll fetch the onboarding form. Okay, we'll fetch the form right here. To this form, we will, when someone clicks on this, we'll add a event listener to it on submit. Okay, so here by writing this, it by default do not submit the form. Okay, here by default we are not submitting the form. Okay, here we are checking before submission. Here we are doing the setup of the, we need to check if the valid form is true or not, if the form is all the validation things are successful or not. If everything is successful, if this one is true, then if this condition is false, then validation failed, and it will trigger in the console that validation failed. If this is true, then we'll move to the next. Okay, we'll get all the form data. Okay, here we'll fetch all the form data and log to the console, and we'll show a confirmation. So confirmation form data. All right, so to fetch all the datas from data form data into an object, that also I'll just share with you. The main object was to explain you the uh, with you the main part is the URL search parameter. So that's why this function you can go through it just for the completion. This is how you get all the form data using the document object. So here you are fetching the full name, you are fetching the uh, email. So here after the value we have a dot trim. Okay, so if you dot trim is a important part, because after that particular value there is a chance of accidental white space or a tab space or a new line to be associated with that particular at the end of the string. So here with dot trim we are cleaning the accidental white space or new line, enter space, all these things we are cleaning from that particular data. Okay, so that's why we have used dot trim. Value retrieves the value. Okay, so here it will find the input element field and it will do all these things. Now let's move to the next part, is this part. Also let's define this. So confirmation, so it will show a confirmation page. Okay, after the form submission we are moving to a confirmation page, right? We are coming to a new page, that is a confirmation page. So that is not important, so because our main important part was this. Okay, important part was how to fetch information from the URL using the URL parameters. Hope this part is clear. So I'm just sharing the code so that it will be easier for you to complete this project. Okay, so here this will hide the form. Okay, after the confirmation. Okay, this will, here we are adding a class hidden to it, so it will change the form state to hidden state. Okay, it will hide the form, then it will show a confirmation state, so it will show the confirmation part. Okay, and it will pre-fill all the data of the text content of the confirmation page with the name, email, and all the things. It will pre-fill and it will generate a shareable URL to us. Okay, it will generate a shareable URL to us. Okay, so then how to generate a shareable URL, that part also let me share with you. So go through this particular function. Okay, so here we are creating a URL search parameter object right here. Okay, then we get the base URL. Okay, here we are getting the base URL, and then we combine the base URL with all the parameters. Okay, we are doing a combining all the base URL with the parameters. Then we are making it as a shareable link and sharing. Okay, and logging it to the console. That's what we are doing. Okay, and then state management part you can do. Okay, I'll just copy and paste it. So here we are hiding the loading state, particular in this particular case. Okay, we have created a certain delay. We are resetting all the forms. Okay, we have here we are hiding the form delays on loading, and then what we are doing is we reset everything that is there in the form right here, and then we are clearing the source field. We show the form and hide all the confirmations, everything right here. This is we are scrolling to the top. Okay, scrolling to the top of the form. If there is any scroll, or if is there any chance of movement. Okay, then one thing you guys can do is you can create a code for the uh, copy to clipboard. And one of the main thing which I will show you is, let's define this important part to you. Okay, this important part is this particular function. Okay, so here this is the core engine. Okay, this is the core engine right here. As per the definition, this defines we are creating a block of code which gets the raw data, that is from the Windows location right here. Access the query string. We are accessing the query strings right here. Then params equal to new URL. So here we are initializing the translator, that is this is the key step. So the URL search param constructor right here is called, and the inside it the raw query string data is passed. Okay, so then we are initializing a empty JavaScript object. Okay, then we are running a loop right here as we are doing before. So the forEach method is there. It loops once for every single parameter that is found, okay, in the URL. Okay, it do if the for value is found, it continues the loop for the fourth time. The iteration is done for the fourth times. Then we are populating all the objects value with the value and the keys. Okay, that we are doing it. Then we are returning the clean data. Okay, so here this is the completion of the project. Okay, now let's move to the main code. Okay, your task is to, now you can see on load, here we are getting a loading state. Okay, and if we add this as a query string, you can see it is now pre-filled with this plan test. Write any name. Let's say if I write a single one, how the error is handling, let's single this, also add a single company name. You can see error handling must be at least 2 characters, company name must be 2 characters. So let's pre-fill it, complete onboarding, and boom, from the URL it is fetching all the information. This is a submission state, and it is pasting all the data right here, populating all the data right here. So this is how you can build this particular project, and that's the completion of this particular project. So here we learned what we learned. All right, so let's have a quick recap of what we have covered in this. In this tutorial, we have learned about the URL anatomy. What is a URL? What URL looks like? Okay, we have a deep understanding on that. We also learned about URL search params, constructor and all, how to extract the query parameters from the URL, how to pre-fill the HTML form dynamically. Okay, and this is all what we have covered in this tutorial. So this the assignment is for you to create this copy to write the code for this copy to clipboard, and also test out with multiple parameters, do manipulations and see what error you are getting, do a proper error handling and test this code out. Congratulations on completion of this project on smart onboarding system, where you have a clear understanding of the URL search params. Hope you have understood all the topics. Go through the topic, complete the assignment, and hope to see you in the next session. This is Prithis signing off.